That belongs to my son, and quite frankly, I don't think you can even afford the tax on it, let alone the item itself. So hand it over before I call security and have you removed for loitering." The sharp, manicured nails of the woman standing in the aisle dug into the cardboard box of the Stellarbot 3000, the season's most coveted toy, as she physically tried to yank it from Maya's grip, her face twisted into a mask of entitlement and unprovoked rage that seemed to freeze the festive air of the toy store instantly. Maya, whose grip on the box remained ironclad despite the sudden assault, looked into the eyes of the woman, a blonde in a pristine white cashmere coat that cost more than a mid-sized car, and felt that familiar cold pit form in her stomach, the sensation of being judged, categorized, and dismissed in a split second, not because of what she did, but because of who she was. Welcome back to Her Secrets, Her Stories, the channel where we expose the hidden battles and the glorious victories of women who stand their ground against the world. Before we see how this Christmas Eve nightmare turned into a miracle of justice, I want to ask you to gently hit that subscribe button and like this video right now. Your support is the only way we can keep sharing these powerful truths. And I would love to know who is watching today. Drop a comment with your name and city, or just tell me if you ever had to fight for respect in a place where you should have been welcome. Maya didn't let go of the box, her knuckles contrasting against the bright comic book colors of the packaging. And she didn't raise her voice, because she knew that in a crowded room full of shoppers on December 24th, a black woman raising her voice would be labeled aggressive long before the white woman screaming in her face would be labeled abusive. The store, Wonder World Toys, was the crown jewel of the city's retail district, a multi-story palace of glass and light that smelled of cinnamon, pine, and the expensive perfume of the city's elite, who rushed through the aisles in a panic to secure last-minute gifts. Outside, the snow was falling in thick, cinematic flakes, coating the streets of Chicago in a layer of silence, but inside, the noise was deafening, a cacophony of electronic beeps, crying children, and the relentless loop of Jingle Bell Rock that seemed to mock the tension rising in aisle 4. Maya had come here for a specific reason, dressed in her comfortable gray university hoodie, black leggings, and worn-out sneakers, her hair pulled back in a simple puff, looking every bit the tired shopper just trying to survive the holiday rush. What the woman in the cashmere coat didn't know, and what the store staff ignored, was that Maya wasn't just a shopper. She was Maya Vance, the chief operations officer of the logistics firm that had insured every single item in this store arrived on time, a woman whose signature was on the contracts that kept this building's lights on. But right now, to Mrs. Clarissa Wellington, the name she would later scream at the manager Maya was just an obstacle, a placeholder, a person who didn't belong in the premium section of the store. "I found it first," Maya said, her voice calm, low, and steady, cutting through Clarissa's shrill demands like a blade. "There were 2 on the shelf. You took 1. This is the last one. I am buying it." Clarissa let out a laugh that sounded like glass breaking, looking around at the other shoppers for support, playing the victim with practiced ease. "Buying it? Oh, honey, please. We both know you just holding it until you see the price tag and put it back in the wrong section. My son, William, needs this for his collection. He has the entire set. It would be a tragedy for him to miss this one just because you want to play pretend for 5 minutes." Clarissa's eyes darted to the security guard standing near the entrance, then back to Maya. "I'm willing to pay you," Clarissa whispered, leaning in, her breath smelling of peppermint and arrogance. "Here's $20. Go buy yourself something appropriate, maybe some socks." The insult hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Maya looked at the $20 bill Clarissa was trying to tuck into her hoodie pocket. It wasn't the money. It was the assumption that her dignity could be bought for the price of a sandwich, the assumption that she needed the charity of a stranger to survive. Maya brushed Clarissa's hand away, the movement sharp enough to startle the woman. "Keep your money," Maya said, her eyes hardening. "And take your hands off me. I'm going to the register." As Maya turned to walk away, the box tucked firmly under her arm, Clarissa shrieked, a sound so loud that the music seemed to stop. "Help! She pushed me! She's stealing it! Help!" The accusation was a lie, a weaponized falsehood designed to summon authority, and it worked instantly. From the front of the store, the manager, a man named Mr. Henderson, came rushing over, his face flushed with the stress of the holiday season and the desperation to please his high-spending clientele. Henderson was a man who prided himself on running a clean store, which in his mind meant a store where people like Clarissa were comfortable and people like Maya were invisible. He saw the scene, a weeping blonde woman in cashmere clutching her chest, and a black woman in a hoodie holding a high-ticket item. His bias filled in the blanks before a single word was exchanged. "What is going on here?" Henderson barked, stepping between Maya and the exit, blocking her path with his body. Clarissa pointed a trembling finger at Maya. "She assaulted me. I had the robot in my hand, and she snatched it. She hurt my wrist, and she threatened me." It was a performance worthy of an Oscar, and Henderson bought a front-row ticket. He turned to Maya, his expression shifting from concern to open hostility. "Is this true?" he demanded, not waiting for an answer. "Hand over the merchandise, ma'am. We have zero tolerance for aggressive behavior in Wonderworld." Maya stood her ground, clutching the toy that she intended to give to her nephew, a boy who had lost his father, Maya's brother, earlier that year, and whose only wish was this specific robot. "Check the cameras," Maya said, her voice dropping an octave, resonating with a power that usually silenced boardrooms. "I didn't touch her. She tried to take the item from me. I was walking to the register to pay." Henderson scoffed, looking Maya up and down, his eyes lingering on her sneakers. "Pay? This item costs $400. Let's be honest, you're not buying this. You're causing a scene in my store on Christmas Eve. Now give me the box, or I'm calling the police." The threat of the police was the ultimate trump card, the final escalation intended to scare Maya into submission. Clarissa smirked behind Henderson's shoulder, wiping away her fake tears, her eyes gleaming with triumph. She had won. She knew how the world worked. The manager would protect the VIP, and the troublemaker would be removed. It was the natural order of things in her world. Maya felt the eyes of dozens of shoppers on her, some filming with their phones, waiting for the fight, waiting for her to lose her cool so they could post it online. But Maya didn't lose her cool. She tightened her grip on the box and took a step closer to Henderson. "You are making a mistake," she said, enunciating every word. "A very expensive mistake. I am a customer. I have the means to pay. You are refusing me service based on a lie and racial profiling. If you call the police, make sure you tell them that." Henderson's face turned a deep shade of red. He wasn't used to being challenged, especially not by someone he deemed beneath him. He grabbed his radio. "Security to aisle 4. We have a shoplifter refusing to cooperate." The word shoplifter echoed through the store, a label that branded Maya instantly, stripping her of her innocence in the eyes of the crowd. Two burly security guards, looking exhausted and annoyed, began to push through the crowd, their hands resting on their belts. Clarissa let out a sigh of relief, reaching out as if to take the box from Henderson once he confiscated it. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson," she said loudly, ensuring everyone heard. "It's so terrifying these days. You just never know who they let in off the streets. My husband, the city councilman, will be so hearing about how bravely you handled this." The mention of the city councilman seemed to inflate Henderson's ego even further. He puffed out his chest. "Just doing my job, Mrs. Wellington. We value our premium customers." He reached out and grabbed the edge of the box Maya was holding. "Last chance." "Let go." It was a physical struggle now, a tug of war over a piece of plastic and electronics that had become a symbol of dignity. Maya could have let go. She could have walked away, filed a complaint later, and gone home to cry in frustration. But she thought of her brother. She thought of the countless times she had been followed in stores, asked for ID when using her own credit card, or ignored by staff who assumed she wasn't buying. She held on. I am not stealing, Maya said, her voice shaking slightly now from the adrenaline. I am trying to buy a gift. One of the security guards arrived and grabbed Maya's arm, twisting it slightly behind her back. Let it go, miss. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The pain in her shoulder was sharp, but the pain in her heart was searing. She released the box. Henderson snatched it triumphantly and immediately handed it to Clarissa, who hugged it like a long-lost child, beaming. Finally, Clarissa sneered. Justice. Henderson pointed to the door. Get her out of here. And you, he looked at Maya with pure disgust, you are banned. If I see you near this store again, you'll be arrested for trespassing. As the guard began to shove Maya toward the exit, passing the rows of staring faces, Maya stopped resisting. She planted her feet. Wait, she said. It wasn't a plea. It was a command. Something in her tone made the guard hesitate. Maya reached into her hoodie pocket with her free hand. Watch out, she might have a weapon, Clarissa shrieked, hiding behind Henderson. But Maya didn't pull out a weapon. She pulled out a sleek black titanium card, the kind that had no limit, the kind that was invitation only, the kind that only the top 0.1% of the population carried. But she didn't just pull out a credit card. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number on speed dial. Speaker, she said to the guard. Put me on speaker, or you will be unemployed in 30 seconds. The guard, confused by the sudden shift in authority, loosened his grip. Maya held the phone up. Richard? She said into the device. The voice on the other end answered immediately, crisp and clear. Yes, Ms. Vance? Is everything all right with the site visit? The store fell silent. Everyone knew who Richard was. Richard Sterling was the CEO of the parent company that owned Wonderworld Toys. His face was on the posters in the break room. Richard, Maya said, her eyes locking with Henderson's, whose face had gone from red to a ghostly pale. I'm at the downtown flagship. I'm trying to purchase the Stellarbot for my nephew. But the manager, a Mr. Henderson, has just accused me of shoplifting, instructed security to assault me, and handed the item to another customer because, and I quote, she looks like a premium customer. There was a silence on the line that was heavier than the snowfall outside. Then, Richard's voice came back, cold as ice. He did what? Henderson began to tremble. Miss Vance? Wait, You mean Maya Vance? The new majority shareholder? The realization hit him like a freight train. Maya Vance wasn't just a corporate suit. She was the woman who had led the hostile takeover of the retail chain 3 months ago. She technically owned the building they were standing in. She was his boss's boss's boss. Clarissa, sensing the shift in the atmosphere but too arrogant to understand the magnitude, chimed in. I don't care who she has on the phone. My husband is a councilman. Maya didn't even look at her. Richard, initiate code black for this location. Effective immediately. Understood, Ms. Vance, Richard replied. Shutting down POS systems now. Suddenly, every cash register in the store went dark. The beeping stopped. The music cut out. The lights flickered and switched to emergency backup, bathing the store in a stark, dramatic dimness. A recorded voice boomed over the intercom. Attention shoppers. This store is now closed for an emergency audit. Please leave your merchandise and exit the building immediately. We apologize for the inconvenience. The chaos that ensued was instant. Shoppers groaned, dropping baskets. Clarissa stood frozen, clutching the robot. You can't do this, she screamed. I have to buy this. Maya stepped forward, smoothing her hoodie. The security guard had already backed away, looking at his feet. Maya walked up to Henderson, who looked like he might faint. You judged me based on my clothes and my skin, Maya said softly. You assumed I had no value. You were wrong. She turned to Clarissa. And you? You think your husband's title gives you the right to abuse people? Let us see how much influence he has when the video of you assaulting a board member goes viral. Oh yes, Maya pointed to the onlookers who had been filming. They recorded everything. Clarissa looked around, realizing for the first time that the cameras were her enemy, not her friend. She dropped the box on the counter as if it burned her. I didn't know," Clarissa stammered. "It was a misunderstanding. Here, take it." She tried to push the robot back towards Maya. Maya didn't touch it. "Mr. Henderson," Maya said. "Yes, Ms. Vance?" he squeaked. "You're fired. Pack your things. Leave your pass on the desk. You are banned from all Wonder World locations. Security, escort him out." The same guards who had manhandled Maya moments ago now grabbed Henderson. The irony was palpable. The store emptied out rapidly, the disappointed crowd grumbling as they exited into the snow. Clarissa Wellington was still standing by the counter, looking small and defeated in her expensive coat. "Please," she whispered, her arrogance stripped away, leaving only desperation. "It's Christmas. My son. He really wanted it." Maya looked at the woman, seeing not a monster, but a product of a system that had never told her no. "And my nephew really wanted it too," Maya said. "The difference is, I didn't try to destroy someone else to get it." Maya picked up the box of the Stellarbot. She looked at the price tag. Then she looked at the terrified cashier, who was still standing behind the dark register. "System is down. I can't ring it up," the cashier whispered. "It's fine," Maya said. "I'm taking it as a sample." Inventory adjustment. She turned to Clarissa. "You can leave now." "And Mrs. Wellington? The next time you see someone in a hoodie, remember this moment. Remember that power doesn't always wear a suit." Clarissa fled the store, running out into the cold without her prize, her white coat disappearing into the blizzard. Maya stood alone in the center of the empty, dim store. The silence was beautiful. She walked to the front doors, locked them herself, and turned the sign to closed. But the story didn't end there. As Maya walked to her car, the box tucked under her arm, she saw a family standing near the bus stop, shivering. A mother and a young boy, looking at the dark windows of the toy store with sadness. They had arrived too late. The boy was crying softly. Maya stopped. She looked at the box. She thought of her nephew, who had plenty of toys, who had a loving family, who would understand. She walked over to the bus stop. "Excuse me," Maya said to the mother. The woman looked up, wary. "The store is closed," the woman said tiredly. "I know," Maya smiled. "But I think Santa left something behind." She held out the box. The boy's eyes went wide, reflecting the streetlights like stars. "Is that ... the Stellarbot?" he breathed. "It is," Maya said, "and it needs a pilot. Are you qualified?" The boy nodded vigorously. The mother looked at Maya, shocking realization in her eyes. "I can't pay you for this," she said. "It's paid for," Maya replied. "Consider it a gift from a friend." She handed the box to the boy, whose joy was brighter than any decoration in the store. Maya walked away before they could thank her profusely, getting into her modest car and driving off into the snowy night. The fallout was swift. The video of the confrontation trended within hours. #WonderWorld Racism became the top topic on Twitter. Richard Sterling issued a public apology the next morning, announcing a complete overhaul of the company's diversity training and a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination. Mr. Henderson became a pariah in the retail world, unable to find work. Clarissa Wellington's husband lost his re-election bid the following year, largely due to the resurfaced video of his wife's behavior, which painted him as out of touch with the community. But for Maya, the victory wasn't in the destruction of her enemies. It was in the text message she received from her sister on Christmas morning. It was a photo of her nephew, not with a robot, but holding a simple drawing he had made. It was a drawing of a superhero in a hoodie. The caption read, "Auntie Maya is the real hero. Maya Vance proved that true worth isn't in what you buy, but in what you stand for. She showed that you can strip away the music, the lights, and the sales, but you cannot strip away dignity unless you surrender it." And she never surrendered. That Christmas, the Wonder World store remained closed for 3 days, costing the company millions in lost revenue. But in the boardroom, Maya Vance declared it the most profitable investment they had ever made, an investment in integrity. So the next time you're out shopping and you see someone who looks like they don't belong, take a second look. You might be looking at the owner. And if you're tempted to judge, remember Clarissa and ask yourself, can you afford the price of being wrong? If this story warmed your heart or fired up your spirit, please share it with a friend. We need more Mayas in the world and fewer Clarissas. Don't forget to subscribe to Her Secrets, Her Stories, for more tales of justice served cold. Merry Christmas and stay strong.